All right. I've had a lot of questions from people asking, like, how did you commit to recovery? How did you just like decide and then do it? And I'm like, I think maybe people aren't clear on, I didn't just decide one day and then do it. I struggled for 20 years. And during those 20 years, I would attempt, probably like for sure every new year, I'd have like a resolution. This is going to be the year that I'm going to like recover and I'm going to be better. Everything's going to be different. This holiday's going to be different. We're going to do this trip this time and I'm going to like go to all the restaurants with everyone and eat everything. And I had all these hopes. Like literally, I always like tried to hold on to this hope that this was going to be the time. This was going to be it. And I think maybe what I don't make clear is just that, is that it took me years and years and years of trying to recover and failing and failing and failing and failing and failing. Why did I fail? A couple of reasons. And I hate to use the word fail, but why did I not find success? Why did I not find myself fully recovered? With all like the effort and the energy was always there. I thought I was always committed. I always wanted it so bad. Like a desire to recover was, I really did always want it. Maybe there were some times where I was functional and, I was getting away with it and it wasn't as big of a part of my life as other times, but it was always, always there. And I just knew I always was like wanting to not have an eating disorder. So a couple of things. One, my approach to recovery was never what it was this last time. So my approach to recovery was like a meal plan. I had a dietitian that I worked with. They'd still weigh me once a week. I had a therapist that I would talk about I don't know what, but never changed the fact that I still wasn't eating enough to get my body nourished enough to recover my brain to have, a full recovery. And then the other thing was, I think I went into those recoveries attempts. I think I went into them with like, I'm going to do my best, but if I don't find myself like able to do this, I can always go back. Or if this gets really hard or this doesn't feel right, or maybe it's like something comes up in my life and it just doesn't seem to feel like it's flowing or I can't prioritize it, and then I just kind of give up. Oftentimes it would be, I would start noticing my body change, right? And I can't, like somehow I thought I was going to recover and then stay in this like frame that I deemed as acceptable and okay. Or I tried to figure out how I could do both. Like I want to be a normal eater and I want to stop having to be so psycho at the gym and I want to stop counting macros and weighing my food. But how can I do that and still look like this? Because I had dysmorphia and I didn't see anything clearly. And it just doesn't happen. Like I still see people doing that all the time. Like they're willing to commit until they start feeling like they're not okay anymore in their body. And then everything like goes out the window and all of a sudden they just run right back to their eating disorder. So the things that were different in my last attempt at recovery was I went into it with, and it was like the same aha moments that I had a million times before. I would have this experience that I was like, I have to be done. I got to get over this. Oh my gosh. Like I remember when I had kids, my first 3 kids, I remember like getting pregnant with the twins and being like, this is going to be it. Like, this is totally going to be what heals me. Of course I'm going to stop having my eating disorder when I have kids. Of course I'm going to when I'm pregnant. When I found out I was pregnant, okay, now this gives me a reason to like be normal. And then I have the kids. And of course I'm going to be normal because now I'm a mom and I have other things to focus on. And, even when I got married, before we had kids, I think that this is going to solve all my problems. Like all these things that I would like wait for in life that I thought for sure, like I would be mature enough to just drop the eating disorder, overcome it somehow, never happened. So the last attempt at recovery, same thing. I had this realization. I am so sick of living this way. I can't do this any longer. But what was different were a few things. And I have to give a shout out to Tabitha Ferrer because you all know that I love her and I think she's great. But her message was there's never too much food in recovery. You're freaking hungry. You've been restricting and you need to eat a lot of food. And I was like, that sounds like blasphemy. This is crazy. Who is this girl? The first time I heard it, it's like, has she ever heard of a meal plan? Like that's really reckless just to be telling people that. But it's planted a seed inside of me. That first video I remember watching on like feast eating. And I just remember thinking like, oh, that sounds so reassuring. That sounds so nice just to be able to do that. But that sounds so reckless at the same time as my eating disorder, But I gave it some thought and not a lot of thought. I think it was like a day where I was like, I'm going to listen to that video again. And I actually thought, I haven't tried this approach. I haven't actually tried giving it everything, like 100% eating everything I want, dropping a meal plan, not counting calories sounded really nice, terrifying, but really nice at the time. And then she would say, you know, and this is something I ask my clients to do as well, you need to stop your exercise cold turkey and your compulsive movement. And at first I was like, oh, no, I'll eat more, but don't tell me I can't exercise. And again, at first that reaction of like, she's crazy, that's really extreme, turned into like something deep down inside of me knew that's what I really needed to do. And the whole notion of like, accept your unsuppressed natural body weight was foreign to me, because I was always told like within this BMI, you'll start, you know, feeling better. Everything will kind of change. You'll turn around, you'll feel recovered. Well, that never happened, right? Not once is unsuppressing your body weight, or never will it mean that you are hitting a certain BMI. And I just thought like, well, what does that even mean? I don't even know. And I kind of got curious, like accepting my natural body weight. I really couldn't wrap my head around it at the time, but I thought these are the 3 commitments that I haven't actually tried. So I kept doing the same thing over and over again for 20 years. And then finally I thought, these are messages I've never heard. They seem really extreme, but perhaps maybe I should try them. What do I have to lose at this time? I'll die trying. So when I went into my recovery, I went in knowing that like, I will die trying. I really will. And I will not stop until I get there. And so when I had that mindset and things started to change and I started getting uncomfortable and I started questioning how extreme and weird these commitments were that I was making, I knew that I wasn't stopping till I got fully recovered. And I knew by doing those things at that point that I really was going to get there, but it was terrifying as the scariest thing I'd ever done in my life. I don't know how, I mean, and the hardest thing that I've ever done in my life. And I have hopefully a full life to live, and maybe there will be harder things down the road, but up to this point in my life, the hardest thing that I've ever done. And as I started to view restriction differently at this point in my recovery, instead of getting this high from it, and I still sort of did at the beginning, but instead of like restricting and then letting that lead to more restriction and then a day of it and then a week of it and then I was stuck, I knew I wasn't going to stop till I got recovered. So I started viewing restriction as a huge waste of time, and I would get kind of frustrated with myself. And I started to have to dig deep and be like, have some dignity for yourself, Becky. Like, you know you want to get recovered. Why are you doing these things that are wasting your time? You're doing the same crap you've done for so long that's kept you stuck. Stop. So every night I'd kind of reevaluate. Did you truly eat unrestrictedly? Did you do your very best? Is there anything you can say that you should have eaten that you didn't? And then I would the next day correct if I didn't. And so I can't express this message enough, and I just felt like I should talk maybe a little bit more specifically about my own personal experience, because I think people think, how did you just decide and then just do it? And I'm like, yes, but it wasn't like from day one of this last attempt at recovery, I was perfect. I made mistakes and then I had to correct them, and I just knew I wasn't stopping. Like I said, my body changed pretty fast, and I refused to back down, because every time I did in the past, I just ran right back. Or I would be like, okay, this is a common one actually. I'm not gonna run right back to full restriction to where it was. But what I've been doing, if I just maintain this, I'm doing a little bit better, right? I have a little bit more energy. I've kind of given myself a break from all the exercise. I'm eating things that I like now. If I just kind of press the brakes a little bit and give myself some time to kind of adjust, and I'll just kind of like figure out how to hang here for a while, it's better than where I was. And I see that in clients a lot. They rationalize this like, well, it's way better than what I was doing. I'm like, are you really gonna settle on just this like mediocre kind of recovery that you're always like looming a relapse? No, please don't. Please have dignity